this is not black, white, this is not gay or straight. This is Americans have to ask, is it right for our elected officials to ban news organizations because they don't like the questions?
So guys, we're here opening up for 2Techies with the man with the plan, known on Twitter as Shaft, but known to me as a role model, a motivator, Leslie Miley. We let you hear this part of the conversation to open up because we just found out about the White House banning certain news channels and news stations from the White House briefings, and this easily ties into some of the, I don't want to say anger, but the concerns of other issues that we've had to address over the last 3 years. So, Leslie, I know it's going to be a little difficult, but I'm going to have to break some of your energy to have this conversation. So let's start off with something I know you can enjoy easily. When did you fall in love with technology?
Oh man, I don't know. In utero, I think.
That's probably the best answer ever.
True. My mother used to watch Star Trek before I was born, when she was carrying me like inside, and she loved it, and so it was, it was on reruns, and so she would watch it, and I grew up loving it. I mean, it's still one of my favorite TV shows today. I think the stories are amazing. One of the things I think about the stories that are amazing is that they're not about technology as they are about making us better through technology, and they're not just about that as well. They're also about inclusiveness,
right?
About inclusive cultures and being inclusive of other cultures, and I've always liked that, and it just resonated with me. And let's be honest, if you, in Star Trek, if you knew how to use the technology better, you were the coolest, baddest person, right? Spock knew everything. Scotty would always get him out of trouble. Then you got the next generation where Geordi, who, even though he had to wear these horrible sunglasses, and not break into his reading rainbow routine, he was always coming up with a new solution. And, then you had all Klingons were black. How cool is that, right? Like all Klingons were black. You knew it's like James Worthy was a Klingon, right? So that was cool. But it was always just like how they use technology to solve human problems.
Got you.
And how the technology never got in the way of the humanity.
But that's the best form of business, when you're using technology to solve a problem. That's when
and when you're using it to bring people together.
So bringing people together, I know a little bit about your journey. I started following you heavily when you wrote your story about your departure from Twitter. When that article posted, I was like, yes, this is what needs to be said. Then you went to Slack and did some great things there. I even noticed the changes and improvement in Slack, which is, of course, now one of my favorite platforms. Then you made another transition that a lot of people may not know about. So what are you currently doing in tech and innovation so the world knows, just in case they missed the last 2 articles that were written about you?
Coming up with ways to really get black people who are bald, better hair. No, sorry. It's like nobody ever talks about that. Right?
The hair club for man. I mean,
yeah, I know. Like I got a half-ro, right? That's why it's a half-ro now. So I'm working with a nonprofit for the next 10 months called Venture for America.
Okay.
And so what Venture for America, their charter today is that smart people should build things. So they do a selection process of universities all over the country, and they pick what they call fellows, and they pick these fellows to work in startups in cities that you would not expect there to be startups, or large startup communities like Detroit, Columbus, Cincinnati, Providence, Nashville, San Antonio, St. Louis. And they deploy these really smart, really motivated, very passionate young people into these environments and into these startup companies. And they have to interview for a job at the companies, and then they're paid, start with salary starting at about $38,500. When they could actually go to San Francisco and make $125, right? When they can go to New York and make $125. But they go to these communities because they want to help build these communities.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, one, that's wonderful, right? Because one of the larger issues I think that drove us through this election cycle is that these communities were losing hope that they were ever going to return to any state of job equilibrium. They've just been shedding jobs and shedding industry for so long. So, so they send these kids, and these kids they love what they do. They go to Cleveland, they go to Detroit, they work with these companies, and a lot of them stay there. I think the rate of retention after 3 years is 50%, right? So when you send, so if you send a class of say, 100 of these fellows, in 2014, 2015, today there's still 50 of them in these cities. So it's a small dent, but it's a dent nevertheless. But what I found, and how I met you and how I met other people, like doing mentoring entrepreneurs of color, is that it's easy to get inexperienced talent. It's very hard to get experienced talent. Yeah. And in particular, what's really difficult is having your new talent that you just got for a really low price, and you don't have people to help mentor them. So out of that came this: what would happen if we got them experienced people? So I figured, hey, why don't we get Silicon Valley people to work alongside the fellows in these communities and accelerate their startups, accelerate their job creation, and hopefully get people to start thinking more inclusively. People start opening their hearts and minds a little bit more, because I believe that if people have economic opportunity, they won't be so hard-hearted. Because right now, there's a lot of hard-hearted people in this country.
Yeah, I mean, we started off, we know where that's going. So, a little different. Me and you hanging at a bar, craft beer or craft cocktail? What you drinking?
Yes.
Craft beer, craft cocktail, which
yes.
one?
Well, I don't have to choose. I gotta choose.
So what's your preferred craft beer?
What's my? There's a brewery down the street from my house called Triple Voodoo.
Triple Voodoo.
Triple Voodoo. It's great. I tend to like Belgian ales.
Okay.
So I'm a Belgian guy.
Oh man, we should have bought it. We should have bought our brown sugar ale that we make. Yeah. We brew beer. I gotta find a way to get some.
I love a good craft beer. I love good cocktails too. But the great thing is that I can't drink a lot. So basically, I have to choose one, because if I drink both, I'm on the floor.
All right.
Now people are gonna be looking at this and say, "Nah, I've seen you drink, man." Fine.
So, if your business life was based on a movie or a TV show, and we were able to plug into you, and your eyes are projecting this movie or TV show, what would we see?
Wow, depends on what part of my life.
Right now.
But I mean, there are different parts of people's life. There's like what you do.
I would say business. I don't want to get into your personal life.
Don't get in my personal life. That's a whole different movie. That's a black comedy. I love my double entendres. My business life, what would it be? A tale of two cities. I'm from the hood, right? But I'm also a Silicon Valley native. I'm not educated, yet I work with the most educated people in the world. It's weird. I'm black in an area where there's not a lot of black people. Dope. It's my life has always had this strange, bifurcation of who and what I am. And I think after 40-something years, keep that on camera, after 40-something years, it's starting to converge into who I really am, as opposed to the two worlds I've lived in.
Okay, so what do you feel are you kind of addressed this, so I guess right now with the journey you're going through, what are one of your biggest challenges or milestones? What's either a milestone you want to fix, or one of the challenges you're facing right now?
It's a milestone. I want a large tech company to open up a 500-person office in one of our VFA cities.
Okay.
In the next year, and not a customer service office, not a support office, engineering and product. I want you to put your high-paying jobs there. I want you to staff it. Detroit would be great. Cleveland would be great. Richmond, Virginia would be great. Even though we're not in Richmond, my mom lives outside of Richmond, so
it'd be good for you.
Yeah, and because I think having those jobs there and people of color seeing other people of color doing those jobs would be outstanding.
Gotcha. Totally understand that. I want 2 words. When you hear them, I just want your unique and genuine response. Diversity, inclusion.
Bullshit.
Okay. Got it. Now, part 2 of that is you have all the resources, that you need, money, people, space, everything, how would you fix diversity inclusion? But the catch is, you can only describe it in 4 sentences or less.
I would place a large part of my company in a community of color.
Okay.
That's how I would fix it.
And I already know what you mean by that, because once you can empower and hire, it just continues to build and grow.
Yeah, that's all you have to do. And to talk about that, all these companies are spending, at this point, hundreds of millions of dollars to try to solve a problem that they could solve by opening up one office in one city. If Facebook wants to improve their diversity numbers,
say it.
Open up an office in Atlanta, an engineering office in Atlanta. If Google wants to open, change their numbers, build a 3,500 person office in Detroit like you did in Boulder, Colorado. Boulder, whitest city in North America. Don't get it.
Well, when people speak the truth, it stings. So the world is yours. You doing great, but somebody says, hey, you can choose one mentor you want. Total accessibility, time, money, and everything. Who's your mentor?
I think it would be John Lewis.
John Lewis.
Representative John Lewis.
Wow.
I had a humbling moment. I was at this tech diversity event at Intel, and I got there late, and I'm like, let me before I go sit down and listen to the talks and whatnot, I'm gonna go run to the bathroom. I go run to the bathroom, and there's somebody installed next to me, right, standing installed next to me. And I'm like, you're in the restroom, you do your thing. But then I look outside of my eye, I'm like, that's Jesse Jackson. I'm peeing next to Jesse Jackson. and in like the time it takes you to pee, I had all these spots. And one of them was, he was like one of the last people to see Martin Luther King Jr. alive. He did things every day that he could have been killed for, and that people were out to kill him.
All right.
And John Lewis did the exact same thing. John Lewis, every day of John Lewis's early life, he was under a death sentence. And look at what he's achieved. I mean, we talk about the pressure we have, microaggressions, white people, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we don't have people coming after trying to kill us, right? And watching your friends die, watching people get lynched, and when I look at somebody like that, I'm like, what could they teach me? What could they teach me about myself? What could they teach me about what it really means to be black?
It's a lot to change your mindset.
So I look at the work he's continuing to do, and I hope that I have half as much integrity as he does at his age, because he's still holding it down.
Would that be something that you would want to define your legacy, your integrity? It could be, you could go today, you could retire and walk away from the game, but what would define, or what would you want to define the legacy of Leslie Miley?
I want to make a dent, right? I pull like role models and everything from many different people. Steve Jobs said this in a commencement speech. He's like, just make a dent in the universe. And that's hard to do, but it's not impossible. You just have to figure out what it is. And what I think I'm doing now is trying to make a dent. I'm really trying to challenge people and challenge companies to think outside of the narrow confines they've been thinking. And one of those narrow confines is that people in minority cities aren't capable of doing these jobs, and that's fundamentally wrong.
Gotcha.
So if I can change that, I've changed
Fix
a lot.
So you're ported. Humans have changed. I can take my headphones and just plug into you to hear the soundtrack of your life. If I was to plug into you right now, what album or what song am I listening to?
Wow. I don't know. That's a hard question to ask after reading that news today. Because right now, it may
Tell
be
me what you're going through right now.
Maybe America's Most Wanted by Cube.
There it is.
It's just like I think you need that type of attitude.
Right.
You need that type of
to make it right now. We're definitely going.
Yeah. It's like it's like people have to start risking themselves. They start risking. They have to stop being safe.
That's the way it's going.
That's blunted.
So, people, I know we can reach you at Shaft on Twitter. Is there any other way people should be able to contact you, man?
That's the best way.
All right.
I'm also on Signal for those of you who want to.
Signal.
Yeah. Those of you who want to get a hold and say some things that you don't want the government following. Signal's a good way to do it. Just make sure you turn off geolocation.
So is it still the same Username on Signal?
No, it's just they'll be able to find me.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, that's all.
Hey, you got to get on Signal. if
Gotta
you
get
wanna
on- get on
find them,
Signal.
So, in tradition of, and I know you were a speaker here at Black Tech Week, and you've been very supportive, so that's real dope. I really appreciate that you come out and support people, and you're not unaccessible, which means a lot. But in true form of Digital Grass, in our meetings, we always close out with one word. And I know you got a lot going on, so I imagine this word is going to be powerful. But if you could just close it out with one word, not a phrase, not a sentence, but one final word, what would your word be? This is Black Tech Week, weekend 2017, and this is 2Techies. Thank you.